we saw this tonight, so I didn't even do whole lot of preparation for it, and glad I didn't have to. I'll just say this: I'm not the biggest fan of Rebel Wilson as comedy goes. Not of the person. I think she's a talented person. Mm-hmm. I think that Rebel Wilson. I think she definitely has presence. And just to show you that I'm fair. We saw in that last movie, the romance movie where she went to a romantic comedy. Mm-hmm. I actually thought that was pretty charming.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. I said, but before that, I was like, girl, you need to sit your big ass down somewhere and stop this. You're doing the same thing. You a coked up Melissa McCarthy.
How small time I was until I met you.
Penny, why are women better suited to the calm than men?
Because we're used to faking it.
Thank God she's in here with Anne Hathaway. Maybe Anne Hathaway will get your girl and get her to calm down. You're an actress. You ain't gonna let this girl bring you down with her comedy stylings. The fat comedy stylings of Rebel Wilson. And that's not me saying that from a personal place. That's her doing it.
Yeah.
So when I saw this movie where they play con men or con women, I was like, all right, con artist. We got her in here with an Academy Award winner.
Tearful speech.
That's right, Academy Award winner. You ain't gonna let Rebel Wilson bring this foolishness up in here, bring your image down. And also being con artist, well, that takes some brains. This is gonna be intricate. The plot is gonna be full of all kind of twists and turns, Martin. None of that twists and turns, none of that tripping and falling and hooping and hollering that Rebel Wilson does.
Well, maybe some. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a lot.
Just for spice. To spice up the come. Maybe I'll just trip over a chair or something, but not too
It was
many
right
times.
there.
Rebel Wilson has to ease into being an actress at the status that Anne Hathaway is. That's why I was actually looking forward to this. I didn't see no trailers for it. I didn't see any commercials. I can't even see a review yet. I look for some review. Ain't nothing out there. All I said is anyone who a week later dares to go up against Thanos in the Avengers in the Endgame,
they must be planning to bring it.
They must, and that's kind of program. All you nerds out there, all these boys. I know women into it too, but all you boys out there still watching. Y'all watching what? Endgame for the 15th time or something. The women are finally, all right, enough of this. I can support something on screen now with this counter programming with women doing that thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for The Hustle. And we'll be back with our review.
Men always underestimate us, and that is what we use.
So this movie, if it seems a little bit familiar, it's based off of another movie from 1988. What? Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
I'm younger than you, better looking than you, thinner than you.
Know your limitations. You are a moron. Thank you.
Was this movie good? I didn't see it.
It was.
That's Steve Martin and
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
No, it was very good. Matter of fact, they've just recently made a Broadway musical based on it.
Really?
And it's a remake from an older movie.
Yeah.
Bedtime Story, I think it's called, with David Niven and Marlon Brando.
David Niven, yeah. Do know this. So you heard Martin said that this is a good film. Now, imagine if you took this movie right here, which is good, and you just stuffed it with a bunch of dumb shit. To where you just stuffed it so tight where all the good shit was just pushed out. I usually, and let me go ahead and tell you, I like to start out positive when I do these reviews. I ain't doing that shit today. I was tired. I'm not being nice today. I was not in the mood. Not at all. I didn't get. I can tell you right now, I didn't get one hearty laugh at all out of this. The most it got out of me was, even from the beginning. They start out, the movie's called The Hustle. You can't even get the hustle right. The movie starts out with hustling that only a mentally challenged person would be fooled by. At the beginning, whatever, like, if Anne Hathaway came down and tried to pull this con on you with the scenario they had in here, you look at him like, bitch, please. I see everything you doing. The reason why I'm really, and I ain't gonna say I'm mad at anything, because I'm gonna have fun talking shit about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you, at first it starts out mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, those first couple of introductory cons I thought were okay, especially the one Rebel Wilson is pulling, because it's based on catfishing and hooking in guys who see a woman who looks hot. And I was like, all right, I'm kind of down with that. It fits the more modern age with the swiping on the dating apps.
Yeah, I wish I could agree with you, because that was the big, because what you're saying with the showing somebody good looking chick, that was the biggest one. I was like, it don't work like that. It don't work when you just sit down and show somebody, look, my sister's hot. Oh fuck, let me give you everything.
No. It was set up to where they had a thing going already before she got there and showed that, where he was already emotionally or sexually invested with the idea, like, well, what do I got to do to hook up with this hot chick? Here, take my credit card. I got that. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's a mediocre opening, but I was like, all right, well, this is where we're just coming into it. And the Anne Hathaway scam she's got going, I was like, oh, this is old school, whatever. But I was like, this is where they're opening up, and they gotta get their footing, and it'll take off from there. But instead, it took its footing and just jumped off the boat.
Yeah. Well, you were nicer than I was. Because I was yelling bullshit before it even got started. I said, but I'm going to give you a chance.
You just got mad because you thought about you getting scammed like that. You're like, I ain't falling for that.
Oh, hell no, I wouldn't be scammed by this. And believe me, I ain't the smart. That's why I said, if my dumb ass can look at this and know what the fuck is up, you need your ass whooped. This motherfucker. If you fall for it, you deserve to lose everything you got, including your drawers, your shoes, everything.
Well, he's trying to pull his own con, so it's easy to see how he would fall for it.
Both of them dumb. Write y'all shit better. Both y'all deserve to be y'all deserve to rip off each other. I mean, like I said, some people will like the beginning of it. I got it. You did. I just didn't. For some reason, the humor was just so broad, and that's why that's why the cons didn't work. Because the humor, they designed the cons for laughs, more than they designed the cons to actually look effective. And which I'm cool, if you're doing it for the laugh, that's fine. But damn, at least try to be a little bit convincing. But I get it. It's a comedy, so I wasn't going in that hard on it. I ain't nitpicking. I know what the audience is that's going to be looking at this. I'm fine. But once Rebel Wilson came in, the shit immediately got bad. And the movie started out with her. And it started out with her running and falling all over the place. But when her and Anne Hathaway get together, one thing about Rebel Wilson that I don't like, man, not only is she self-deprecating about her weight and also her looks, the whole thing with her humor is like, I'm so fat and ugly, nobody would like me. And it's just like, man, come on, it's uncomfortable now. But it's also, I don't feel sorry for you because you're a piece of shit too. She's an unlikable person.
Well, yeah.
She always plays a person who's like, I'm fat, I'm ugly. And I'm like, yeah, you're fucking clumsy too because you're falling all over the place. No, nobody doesn't like you because of your looks. Nobody likes you because when you leave the room, every glass is broken and you're an asshole about it.
Yeah, she tends to be obnoxious.
She's obnoxious. She's not obnoxious. She's just rude.
Yeah.
She's she's an unlikable person. And I got to spend the next hour and 20 minutes with this, and that's exactly what it is. It is the humor that I don't like anyway, where somebody's just it's one thing to be self-deprecating, but it's another to milk it for laughs with the physical comedy. I'm so big that when I walk into a room, I'm actually a bull.
When I sit around the room, I sit around the room.
Yeah.
Man, am I right? No one?
No.
Is this thing on?
If you actually sat around the room, you would cushion the fall for some things. No, you just knock shit over. Her humor is constantly just falling. Get up. Oh, look at me. I'm fat. Oh, look at me. I'm ugly. Oh, but you know what? Please like me, though. I want your attention because I'm going to keep falling and falling to get cheap laughs. And they do it to the point where this is what really made me hate the movie, where it was already like, okay, you're doing the same thing you're doing over and over again. And I can't stand it when they take that. We've already been going through this. Oh, but let's make a montage out of it.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. We've already been doing this. You're just doing it quicker now. I couldn't stand this, man. And then, and I'm wondering what you think about this. It was one thing to where, oh, all right, you know what? Oh, now we're starting to get into, now we're probably about to get into some story right here. But at this point where it feels like they're about to do some kind of con, they got this, it starts out with a coincidence that does not work at all. It makes no sense. They don't even bother to explain it. It's one thing, like I said, man, you know, with these intricate details, it's one thing to like maybe miss a thing or two.
Sure.
But when the whole thing from the beginning is like, wait a minute, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then the movie stops to do this con, which is just one long ass blind joke, which in itself seems almost a little offensive. I mean, the movie has about 20, 25 minutes of Rebel Wilson. She's funny because she's already been falling all over the place with her sight. Oh, now she got an excuse to like knock more shit over.
Hey, blind person here, move! Could somebody tell me if there's an empty chair at this table?
My nana was blind.
I had no idea.
Yeah, like nobody saw that shit. Just because you ain't got your sight don't mean everybody else is blind.
If I can't see it, then they can.
You can't see it. This is not, I got to say this, I'm going to pass it on to you. This is not a movie. It is like almost every other Rebel Wilson movie where it's just, or even Melissa McCarthy, it's just segments of this physical comedy based on one tired, almost offensive joke of being fat and unattractive. And they just kind of piece it together with the thread of a plot. And then when they get to that blind joke, I'm like, well, fuck, y'all ain't even trying now. I'm gonna take a French fry and rub it in the toilet and feed it to you. What are we, Adam Sandler now?
And the thing about that is, with that joke, I was like, well, if she was blind, she could still smell it.
She can stand. You can smell the shit.
Yeah.
If you can't see it.
Or taste it. But in her mouth, you're like, oh, yeah, that's good. It's like, you're blind. You can still smell. You can still taste. What is going on here? You know, what it is that, so, yeah, it's built off the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, more so than the original. And in that, Steve Martin played a guy who was like, said he was saying he had no feeling in his legs. And so I guess they decided, well, instead of doing that, copying that directly, we'll have her be blind instead. But the gags don't work nearly as well. Because you see here where he's pretending like he can't feel his legs, and Michael Caine comes over and starts whipping the shit out of his legs, and he has to just sit there and act like nothing's going on, but tears are streaming down his face. It's hilarious.
Oh, he didn't take his leg and rub it in the toilet?
No.
See, that's funny, man. That's
it's very funny. But yeah, watching how they just decided to put their spin on it, the whole time I was sitting there going, this doesn't work, guys. It's not working. None of these things you're doing, they don't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's one of these movies where if you get hung up on logic, even a little bit, like you're doing, it's gonna collapse on itself.
Martin, it ain't logic. I know logic ain't got. When I saw Rebel Wilson bring her ass on screen, I said logic is gone. It's comedy.
I know.
It's writing. It's not there. This is not a movie.
Right. No, it's depending on this old structure, and they aren't doing anything new with it. But they aren't even living up to what it was. They have the opportunity because they've done the gender swap. They've made it women instead of two guys.
Yeah.
But they seem to forget. You also have brought this into the new era with new technology. There's new ways of scamming people. That would be the way to go with this.
Yeah.
But instead, it's too much of falling back on what was done before and bringing in Rebel Wilson's slapstick. It's one of these things. She's one of those actors, much like Kevin Hart, or Kate McKinnon, where they hire them and they don't have a solid script, and they go, well, you'll just ad lib and we'll just film a bunch of that and keep what works. I mean, they pay them the money for that, and I feel bad for those people because they're kind of like, gosh, I wish I had a script to go on, but okay, I guess it's up to me to just keep filling things in. On top of that, in this movie, as much as Rebel Wilson is obnoxious, which as she is, I actually found her less so in this than in most of her movies. Not the last one. She was fine in the last one. But in most of her movies, I find her even more obnoxious because she's interrupting people to do stuff. Here, she's a main character, so she's supposed to do that. But I had a big problem with Anne Hathaway in this. I was the whole time, it's like, all right, she's going through all these different accents. None of them are really that good. I would think she would have more pride in her work.
It started out good until she started getting into the broader type of comedy.
Yeah. She's British, she's French, she's German, she's Swedish. It's all blending together, and it's hard to buy, and it was just so rushed. Like none of it breathed. It's just going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Even when they got their mark and they're both trying to scam that one dude, I was getting lost on what their motivations were.
Well, I got it. I know what it was. Like I said, I just don't think it was done very well. And that's another thing with it too. Is like underneath it all. See, me having never seen the
Dirty Rotten
Scoundrels. Mm-hmm. I was thinking I see potential in this. I guess I was seeing that other movie that was under there because I said I can see how this could work, and I see what they've done. They've actually taken the structure of something and just broke that down.
Yeah,
just tore that apart. You burn that down. I'm a little harsh because, like I said, I am not a fan of comedians who have very, very, very shallow material that they fall on, which, as you said, like especially if it's slapstick, especially if it's physical humor, falling down on your ass because your visual gag already is you're overweight. That just seems. I'm not even trying to be somebody who's like trying to take some social issue here. Let's take that out. It's just lazy.
Yeah.
It's the laziest kind of comedy that you can do, man.
It is.
And I hate that kind of comedy. That's why I always complain about Melissa McCarthy. That's why I wasn't a big fan always of people were liked him, but
Chris Farley?
Chris Farley.
Yeah.
I was not always that big a fan of Chris Farley because it was the same thing. It's funny for a couple of times. Mm-hmm. That's cool. But when you become that same character in every movie and you repeat the same thing, right down to even some of the same lines, it's like, man, I wish I could. I see the potential in Rebel Wilson too. I wish he would do something more because this is getting old, man. It's old and it's lazy and it needs to stop. And this movie just proves it more. I can't stand this. And I will say a bright spot in here for me was Alex Sharp.
Was he the butler?
No, he's the kid.
Oh, okay.
The guy that created the app, and that's him. You look barely past that arm right there. That's him at the roulette table right there. And for some reason, I don't know, man, because he just seemed to be the one that was the kind of the most normal, the one that wasn't trying so hard to get a laugh.
Yeah.
Because Anne Hathaway's trying really hard to get a laugh in her own way. She ain't falling all over the place like Rebel Wilson, but in her own way, she's pushing it to a point where it's like
she's hamming it up.
Exactly, hamming it up. It's not funny anymore if I can see past it. Mm-hmm. He's the only thing that's kind of normal in the film, and even that's not saying too much. It's just kind of like, wow, I'm in the desert right now, and I'm lucky to find a pond.
Yeah, you're giving him praise just because you hate everything else.
I'm grading him on a curve.
Right.
And by the end of it, they started to do a little something inspired, but I was like, no, don't pull that shit now. No, I don't. No, don't do this. And it wouldn't end. It didn't even go on that long. But I was like, you're done. Stop.
Right. Oh, that's right. Because there's a point, there's a cutoff that Dirty Rotten Scoundrels cuts off at, and it's when like, oh, that is awesome, and it goes off. And this one does that and knows now and next. Wait, no, you're done. Stop it.
And furthermore, meanwhile, man, it's
They don't even stick the landing. It's like a balloon where the air was just going out of it toward the end.
It really was. There were people there who were actually having fun at first, and even they were just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I know, because in the beginning there was laughing, and even laughing at the pratfalls and all, but toward the end, I was like, man, this theater got silent.
Yeah. You took something that was actually funny, actually inspired. You had the material, and you're like, You're like a kid who actually got somebody to cheat for you, and they got the answers all wrong. You know? It's like
I wrote them all down. All you got to do is put these answers on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like a jock who gave some nerd to do your homework for you, and they gave that shit back to you in crayon. This is terrible, man. This is
And then the FBI came down and arrested your parents.
Yeah. This is so bad, man. I'm for some people out there, that might not be the case. You know, it's one of those, those mainstream films where it's like, hey, the reason why this comedy is so bad because we're trying to appeal to everyone.
True.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. Straight up some bullshit. It's not. I'm not gonna go as far as a fuck you. I wasn't that offended by it. I have no patience for Rebel Wilson and what she's doing. Nothing against her as a person. I think she has potential to do a lot, but I can't take this no more from her. It's the same thing over and over again.
I hear you. It skates away from the some old bullshit just to being kind of a mediocre, maybe a lowish rental to me. In as much, it's funny because it's for kind of the same reasons you had about some things where, yeah, Rebel Wilson, she's fallen down and she's obnoxious, but I've seen her do both of those things much more so than this. The movie's short. I mean, as much as it doesn't want to end, it was over before I knew it. It was almost like, man, why'd y'all even have me drive all the way out here for this? It was going to be done that quickly.
Do you hear your praise? Your praise is she doesn't fall as much.
Oh, yeah.
And it's short.
Yes, that's the low rental. I know. I don't even consider that. I mean, that's damning but faint praise. It's the very definition of that.
I can tell you, it ain't a recommendation.
No. I mean, I don't think a low rental is ever a recommendation.
I hear you though. Yeah, I just can't take it no more. I'm done.
I see just little improvements. Maybe the next one she won't do it at all.
Well, in the next one, then I will actually be nice. But for this, you doing this, and I'm saying I'm not doing it. I'll be there in the next one. Hopefully. I don't know. This might make a lot of money, and so we're back at it again. The cycle continues.